5 things Harry Potter asks you not to notice. Not mistakes exactly, not accidents. Moments where the story flinches, where the logic goes quiet and the reader moves on. Because the next chapter starts. You didn't notice. Because you weren't supposed to. Every story has rules. Magic has rules. Hogwarts has rules. The wizarding world runs on logic. Until it doesn't. These aren't the plot holes fans argue about online. The ones with easy explanations. The ones that get cleaned up in interviews. These are 5 moments where the story breaks its own logic in ways that still don't make sense. And what's underneath each one is darker than the whole itself. In Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, Hermione Granger receives a time turner from the Ministry of Magic. For homework, a device capable of reversing time, given to a 13-year-old girl so she could take extra classes. And when Dumbledore tells Harry and Hermione to use it to save Sirius and Buckbeak, they do. In one afternoon, they change 2 outcomes. But here is what the book never explains. Cedric Diggory dies in the Triwizard Tournament. Sirius Black falls through the veil. Dumbledore himself is killed on the astronomy tower. The time turner exists. The Ministry has them. Hermione had one for a year. Nobody used it. Not once. In any of those moments, did anyone say, we could go back? The official answer is that the Ministry destroyed all the time turners during the Department of Mysteries battle. In Order of the Phoenix, 3 books after Azkaban. But that is 3 books. 3 years. 3 years when the turner still existed. 3 years where Dumbledore, who had one in his office, who told 2 children to use it to save a hippogriff, chose not to. Either he forgot, or he decided. And Dumbledore never forgot anything. Fred and George Weasley have the Marauder's map for 3 years before they give it to Harry. The map shows every person in Hogwarts, every corridor, every room, every name, every name. For 3 years, Fred and George looked at that map. At the Gryffindor boys' dormitory. At the name beside Ron Weasley's, Peter Pettigrew, not once, not in 3 years, did either of them say, "Who is that?" And before Fred and George, Filch had the map. Then Professor Lupin found it in Snape's office. Snape himself looked at it, saw Pettigrew's name, and dismissed it as a joke. 12 years. Peter Pettigrew's name moved across that map, slept beside a child, sat at the Gryffindor table at breakfast. 12 years of the map showing you exactly where he was, and no one asked the question. Maybe the answer is that people see what they expect to see. That grief makes you incurious. That after a war, you stop looking for the dead. But Peter Pettigrew wasn't dead. He was right there. And the map told you every single day. Sirius Black spent 12 years in Azkaban for crimes he did not commit. He was never given a trial. The Ministry of Magic. The same ministry that investigated magical incidents involving underage wizards. That had an entire department dedicated to magical law enforcement. Never tried Sirius Black. They took the word of a man at the scene. They sent Sirius directly to Azkaban, and for 12 years, nobody reviewed the case. When Sirius escapes in 1994, The ministry's response is not to finally hold a trial. It is to send dementors after him. And when Harry and Hermione present proof, Pettigrew alive, transformed, the ministry's response is to send Sirius back, not to investigate, to imprison. The question the books never answer is why. Why didn't the ministry investigate? Why did Dumbledore, who knew, Sirius, who doubted almost everything, never push for a trial? Sirius asked once, quietly, in Prisoner of Azkaban. He asked why no one had ever listened. Nobody answered. The prophecy that sets the entire series in motion says, "The one with the power to vanquish the Dark Lord approaches." There are two children who fit: Harry Potter and Neville Longbottom. Voldemort chose Harry because Harry was a half-blood, like Voldemort, because he saw himself in Harry. And here is what Dumbledore tells Harry in Order of the Phoenix. The prophecy has power only because Voldemort chose to believe it. A prophecy is not a sentence. It is a possibility. It becomes real only when someone acts on it. Dumbledore knew this. He knew the prophecy's power was conditional. He knew Harry's path wasn't fixed, and he kept that from Harry. He let Harry believe he had no choice, that the ending was already decided, that the walk toward death was inevitable. He says he was protecting Harry, that knowing too soon would have changed how Harry faced what was coming. Maybe he was right. But a man who understands that prophecies only have the power we give them chose to let a child believe in one. That is not an oversight. That is a choice. When Voldemort kills Lily Potter and then tries to kill Harry, the curse rebounds. Harry survives. Dumbledore's explanation: Lily's sacrifice created ancient magic, a love so complete it left a protection in Harry's blood. The question is why this had never happened before. Voldemort had been killing people for 20 years. Parents had died protecting children. People had sacrificed themselves for the ones they loved. Every war produces that. So why Lily? Why only then? The books say it was the choice. That Voldemort gave Lily the option to step aside. That the deliberate, willing sacrifice, the refusal, was different from simply dying. But wizards in wars are given choices. Stand down or die. Move or be destroyed. Step aside or I will kill you too. So is the magic in the choice. Or in the love, or in something Dumbledore understood about that night that he never once explained to Harry, or to anyone. The books give you the answer, but they don't show you the edges of it. And the edges are where the questions live. These 5 moments do not break the story. The story is still beautiful, still enormous, still the thing that made you fall in love with reading. But they sit there, quiet, unanswered. And sometimes the most interesting thing about a story is not what it tells you. It is what it asks you not to notice.